Hello, it's Rich Rosen, founder and CEO of Fastcall, and I'm going to do the first of our demo, our installation videos. It is February 2018, and we have our version 4.80, 4.78 here in the AppExchange. The steps generally stay the same, and we do try to update these videos every few months. So we're going to start here in the AppExchange, which of course is where you're going to find our application and is the only place that our application can be installed. And you're going to start here by clicking Get It Now. But before I go down there, I just want to talk a little bit about what you're going to find here in our listing. You will see some links for support, our terms and conditions, our user's guide, which hopefully you found, and that's where you've got this video, is listed here and on our website, but we do have data sheets, both again here and on our website, about many of our very specific features. So for example, our voicemail drop, dial by list, call recording, SMS, and we're not going to go through really any of these on the installation videos. We're just going to guide you through the initial setup and testing. When you need to add users and do some setup for your inbound, for example, you're going to do that following specific steps for each of those activities. Okay, so we're here in the AppExchange. I did mention we're going to click Get It Now. Salesforce is going to ask for you to log in to either your production org, sandbox, or developer org. If you are in a production org, there's licensing and a 7-day trial by default. A credit card is required. There is no credit card required, and the trial is unlimited. In a sandbox or a developer org, there's no licensing in a sandbox or a dev org, but there are some steps that are different in the sandbox, so you want to pay attention to that in our user's guide. Once you log in to Salesforce and go through the installation, Salesforce is going to ask you to grant API access. We have a screenshot of that in the user's guide, and you just want to follow that through. The installation is controlled 100% by Salesforce, and you'll receive an email in a few minutes after the application is installed. We do require Enterprise Edition or above. Salesforce will allow you to install a Professional Edition of Salesforce, but unfortunately, our application is not compatible in Professional Edition. Okay, so once the application is installed, in a few minutes, you're going to see in your Salesforce application menu, Fastcall has been added as an application, and that is here. And the specific customization of the tabs that you're going to put in the application are really up to you. In my org, I have added a few extra tabs, but you're going to see your Fastcall settings, which is where you're going to manage all of your setup. This happens to be our dashboard. This is our custom object for calls. I'll talk a little bit about that later. So you're going to see, again, settings, dashboard, calls, of course, leads, accounts, cases, contacts, reports are native objects that we have here in the Fastcall, in our Fastcall application menu in Salesforce. Okay, so inside the application, you're going to see there are two sets of settings. There is the user settings and the admin settings. The installing admin, and you must be an admin to install any application in Salesforce. You do need to have admin rights. The installing admin will automatically be assigned to the permission set for user and admins, and you will automatically be assigned a license and a call center file. So when you install the application, you're going to have everything you need to get started. And we do say that the installation takes really anywhere from 15 minutes to a few hours, but this very first step we think should be done in 15, 20 minutes plus the time that it takes that you're watching the videos. Okay, so inside the application, one other thing I'm going to say, which actually goes back to the AppExchange listing, we do have a couple of different price plans. You are actually installing the $30 version, the middle, essentially our middle version. Um, if you do need less features, which we discussed on our pricing page, you can downgrade to our lower priced plan, which does not include call recording or the soft phone, which are included in the package that you've installed. And upgrading we would do after the installation. It is all the same application. There's one application. We use Salesforce capabilities to either move you up or down, but you are actually installing this middle version. Okay, so organized here. So our user panel is where you're going to add users. You can do that really at any step um, in your setup. In our setup guide, we don't do that right away, but you could if you wanted to just add users right away. You could. When you do add a user, we are automatically we're going to look in your org for all of your users. You select them here and you decide whether they're an admin. As I mentioned, the admins are getting the admin permission sets and the regular users are not. When you add a user here, we are managing the call center file, the permission sets, and the license. And then those users will be listed here. Some information about your subscription is here. The version that you've installed. The edition is based upon the capabilities, when again, you're always going to be installing the Sales edition, which we can either move up to our Sales Plus edition or move down, depending upon your needs. And some additional information. If you are purchasing additional licenses, you do that here. You manage your credit card. We put our release notes here, and then the individual capabilities, which I mentioned, are actually capabilities inside of Salesforce. We have flagged here, but we have to enable these capabilities via support. So if you said, hey, we'd like to add SMS, we would log into your account via support, and we would enable that. Okay, so really what I want to talk about in terms of your setup is your call logging, and that's the first thing that we really want you to do when you install the application, is install the application and log a call. And let me pop over to a test record here. So you will see, you notice I am in Classic. I could just as well be, of course, in Lightning. I could be in Console. For setup, I tend to sort of do that still in Classic for no particular reason. You can get access to all of your settings in Lightning as well. But once you've installed the application, as the admin installing the application, you don't have to do anything. You automatically will have the call center file and the license and the permission set, which will put Fastcall here in your sidebar in Classic and Console. The phone is always going to be in the footer on the right. In Lightning, your phone will always be in the footer on the left. But once the application is installed, before we connect to Twilio, and we're going to talk about that actually in the next video, and we have some additional information about that online, we want you to log in and make a test call. So I've logged in here. I have me looking at the lead, test record. I click the phone number. You'll see automatically there's a phone icon next to the phone, and I can start logging the call. So at this stage in your installation, we haven't connected Twilio. We haven't taken the next steps that we need to do, which I'm going to cover in the next video. We just want you to log the call. And you should be able to do this really within 5 minutes. I've installed the application, I've logged the call. You'll see that we're starting to capture the call duration, the subject, my notes, they're all here. I can end the call. There's a couple different options for how you can manage this. I can close the task, I pick my call result, and I'm done. As a native application, we do not refresh the page. The task is created in real time without refreshing the page. There's the call we just made. And you'll notice that this does say user dialed manually because I haven't connected Twilio yet, and I haven't actually dialed to the call. I'm just logging the call. But that's the first thing we want you to do is we want you to install the application and log a call. Inside the widget itself, you're going to see, in this particular case, I have my phone. This is actually SMS. These are my goals for the call. This is our internal dialer. But inside the widget, you're going to see our recent calls. There's a dial pad here. So the call that I just made was an outbound call, completed, the date and time, the duration, the call result that I set, the phone number I dialed to, the phone number I dialed from was not set because I didn't actually dial the call, I just logged the call, and then the subject. I can click here and it'll take me automatically to the Salesforce task. And this is where you can edit your page layout here, and you can customize sort of what you want to see in your Salesforce task, which is of course managed in Salesforce, but things like your call duration. Um, Fastcall is going to populate your native Salesforce fields like call result and call type and your created dates, your status. These are all native Salesforce fields. Our custom Salesforce fields, actually call notes is a custom field. We just do that to give you a lookup in your related list. Um, so there's a combination both of custom and native fields here, but you're going to edit this according to what you want that to look like. And when you come back to the record itself, the related list, which in this particular org, I have both the related list for calls, which is our custom object for calls, which you don't really need. It's really up to you whether you want to use our custom object for calls or just rely on the Salesforce task. Most of our subscribers are really just going to use the Salesforce task. In my particular org, I have calls first. But again, I mentioned here's the call. So this is the related list, and I can customize this as well by coming into Edit Layout. And when I edit this layout, I can edit the fields that I'm going to see in this related list. So the subject, the date, the duration, in minutes, which is actually a custom field. The native Salesforce field is seconds. Call result, the type, both native. These are custom fields, custom and custom. So you're gonna edit these per your layout, and that's the first thing we want you to do. So we want you to log in, sort of see how we log a call. In Classic, there's a sidebar that's revealed here. You can set any task pick list, so I can set a follow-up call if I like, um, end the call, and then set my call result. You can our call goals are also here in the widget, the call results. We give you a couple different options, and we'll sort of go back to where we started. So underneath the settings, these options are all managed in the application under call logging. These are our call results, and there's a bunch of different capabilities that we give you under call results. So setting your call results for outbound calls, for inbound calls, have different sets of call results. You can set call results by object. So if you want to see a separate set of call results for accounts, you can do that here. We also have a set of default call results by call duration. So if you're not setting any call result, there are some defaults that are set here. Subject, pretty straightforward. We do give you the ability to customize the subject and also the option to append any information to that subject. So if you say, hey, Rich, I want to see really all of that data in my subject, some of our subscribers just like that, you can append the call date and time, the call result, both call result, call date and time, contact name. So if you just want to sort of, if you don't really want to use notes, but you just kind of want to append everything into a call subject, you can do that or nothing at all. We will pick up any task pick list in the org, so you can, which is actually added here. So any pick list values that exist in your org, you can optionally choose to show them in the widget. And then I skipped over this, the general settings for tasks. So the first thing is, do you even want to create a task? You may say, no, I'm not going to create a task. And in that case, you would use Fastcall to only create a call, which is our custom object for calls. But say yes, which is the default. I am going to create tasks. I want to see tasks for completed calls. Do I want my missed calls to be open tasks or closed tasks? I want to create open tasks for voicemails, et cetera, et cetera. Usually that's checked. Okay, so these are my options under tasks, and then the last one is the specific settings for the interface, and a few of these are going to be upgrades. Do I want to see the subject or I don't? Do I want to see call notes or not? The opportunities, cases, and multiple contacts are all upgrades, so these won't be on by default, but we can add these after your install as needed. So, and then I think the last thing I'm going to say is some call termination objects, so specifically how you're using call result and some specific settings about how you're ending your call. And that's really a good place to stop because the next thing we're going to do, um, once you've tested out how you log calls, we're going to connect Twilio, which is how we dial, and that's going to be set up here. And I'm going to cover that in the next video. So once we connect to Twilio, we're actually going to be able to dial. So hopefully this was helpful. A little longer than hoped, but hopefully we did cover a lot of material. If you have any questions, shoot us an email, support@fastcall.com, and I will see you in the next video.